Yes, guys, I'm back. Hokage Puya back. I haven't posted a video in a couple days because I was busy spending time with my lovely, lovely girlfriend. Priorities, priorities, priorities. But since the last time I made a video, by the way, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your interactions. Thank you for all the new subscribers who subscribed from the AFCON and Asia Cup content I put out so far. So I did a group stage prediction for both competitions, and I put for the AFCON content, I made a top 10 African players of all time. Check that out if you haven't already. It's on my channel. Or not top 10 AFCON players of all time, top 10 African footballers of all time, excuse me. And then I made an Asia Cup related video of who's the best Asian player of all time, because when I was going through, I explained in the list, when I was going through a top 10, I didn't really want to make a top 10 anymore because there was only two players who people consider the best Asian player of all time. So I made a video on that. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. But today, yeah, since the last time I posted a video, we've officially reached, I'm pretty sure, the midway point for every one of the top 5 leagues in Europe, for the Bundesliga, for the Premier League, for La Liga, Ligue 1, and Serie A. So I thought it'd be a good idea, maybe, to make a top 10 players so far of this season. Now, this is going to be taking into account, I think basically, if you have a differing opinion, let me know in the comments. But I do think the top 10 players in the world this season have been in the top 5 leagues. So I'm only going to cover players from the top 5 leagues. Liga and Bundesliga, like I just said, Liga and Serie A, Bundesliga, Premier League, blah, blah, blah. But what this is going to, what my ranking is kind of based on is your impact in the team. Also your output. So, if you're a defender, there's some defenders on this list. I didn't discriminate against defenders like a lot of best player in the world lists do. I feel like a lot of times defenders are discriminated against. But I said that, and I only have one defender on the list, so blah blah, and he's basically attacker. So what? Defenders, pick up your game if you want to make a top 10 list. You know what I mean? But this is kind of taking into account your performance in all the competitions for your teams, how I judge you when I've watched you play, and your impact. How important are you to the team? Now, say, let's go for Man City, for example. I'm not gonna put, as he has been great. He's been great, Bernardo Silva, but his impact isn't the same as a Rodri or a Holland. You know what I mean? So he won't be on this list. So that's kind of my criteria. There'll be other players in this list that have been having great breakout seasons, but I won't put on. I'll give an honorable mentions before I get into the top 10. But yeah, guys, let's just get into it. I'm going to give you my top 10. Hopefully, I keep telling myself these videos won't be more than 15 minutes long. And then I end up rambling because I don't plan these videos. I just make them spontaneously. I end up rambling. So if I end up rambling and you don't like me rambling, go in the comments and tell me, stop. Intervention, like when someone's addicted to drugs, you do an intervention. I'm addicted to yapping. When I turn this camera on, when I press record, I yap. So if you don't like the yapping, if I'm yapping too much, insult me in the comments. Call me bros, say bro's yapping too much. Say Mr. Calm down, like bro came from yapping town or something. Just let me know. But I turn this camera on and I yap for you guys. I have a lot of new subscribers. I gained like 170 new subscribers since I posted that first AFCON video. So if you're new, thanks for watching. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm just gonna use the classic tier list. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We have 4, 5, 6, and 10. I will order them in. Some YouTubers don't do it, but I will order them 6 through 10 in that row. Don't worry. I will order them the way they're supposed to be ordered. So if you could see, here's my 10-man shortlist. We have Griezmann, Bellingham, Grimaldo, Haaland, Kane, Lautaro Martinez, Mbappe, Rodri, Florian Wirtz, and Mr. Mohamed Salah. Now, before we start with these guys, these superstars, let's go through some honorable mentions. Just a list of players I thought about when making this list. And if I forget anyone, leave it in the comments. If I forget a player, leave it in the comments. I'm human. I make mistakes. Leave it in the fucking comments. So, some honorable mentions. Leroy Sané, Kim Min-jae, Granit Xhaka, Gurasi, who is one of those players that is having a breakout season right now, Guerassi, but he won't be on the list because it's Stuttgart. He's not in the Champions League. What's his impact? Maybe if he goes in as a huge AFCON and leads Stuttgart to European football Champions League, then let's talk. But not yet, Guerassi. Boniface, great breakout season at Leverkusen. Just I don't know if there's two other players I think are more important than him that are in this team. Granted, Xhaka at the same time, like I just said, he's one of those players who's been having a couple good seasons now and is one of the best players in one of the best teams in the world in Leverkusen. Virgil van Dijk is playing at his best again alongside Konate. Konate is another one of those defenders I was thinking about. Trent, Trent has taken a lot of crap the last couple of years, but he's having a good season so far. Also, shout out to the Arsenal players. I didn't put any Arsenal players on my list because they're starting to fall off. And none of their attackers are really popping off the whole entire first half of the season. So I couldn't put your Sakas in there, your Odegaards in there, but I didn't even think of those guys. I was thinking more Declan Rice and Saliba. Shout out to those guys that didn't make my top 10. And obviously, one of the teams of the season so far, I didn't put any of their players in from Girona, but guys like Savio, Dubvik, those guys, I mean, they're doing something special now. If Girona goes and even gets Champions League football, for what Girona is, we're gonna make a video on that. We're gonna talk about that. It's if they go and win La Liga, we're talking about Leicester City kind of degrees of difficulty there. So shout out to the Girona guys, but none of those guys made the video. None of them. Let's talk about the guys that did make my top 10. So let's just get into it. Starting with the number 10 position. Unfortunately, I was bigging up the defenders, but the only defender in this list is going into the 10th position, and that's Grimaldo. Now, Leverkusen is one of the best teams. I know they're not in Champions League. They're in Europa League. They're killing it in Europa League, by the way. They're first in the Bundesliga. I think they're the only undefeated team, right? I think they're the only undefeated team in the top 5 leagues. They haven't lost a single game in the Bundesliga. I think they have 5 points on Bayern, but Bayern does have a game in hand. If they win that, they'd be 2 points clear of Bayern. And they genuinely are. Leverkusen are genuinely this season one of the best, if not the best team in Europe. And if not, if you don't want to give them that title, if you're a classical guy, it's got to be City, Bayern, Real Madrid. You could definitely give Leverkusen, along with Girona, the title of the most exciting team to watch. 100%. These guys play sexy, fluid football. Xabi Alonso, he's both sexy on the pitch and his tactics are sexy. I mean, wow, Xabi Alonso, what a guy. What a guy. I did not expect this from Leverkusen at all this season, and he's transformed Grimaldo. Now, if I remember, Grimaldo was at Benfica. I remember he had some good seasons in the Portuguese league, makes his move to the Bundesliga, and now is finally flourishing. He was once on the books at the books of Barcelona. Let's not forget that. He used to be at Barcelona. He's now at 28, 27, 20 years old, flourishing into this. I mean, this guy, as a left back, a left wing back, he just does everything for Leverkusen on that side. He scores bangers. He creates attacks. He defends pretty well too. He's not a garbage defender. He defends pretty well too. Hardworking up and down that left side. When I watch Grimaldo play, I run out of breath. I get tired watching Grimaldo play. He's like this season a perfect blend of workhorse, beautiful Spanish flair and technique, style, pizzazz, technique. I mean, he provides the assists, and he scored some bangers for Leverkusen this season so far. So for me, man, Grimaldo at the 10 position is, in my opinion, the best fullback in the world this season so far, 100%. No arguments. The only person that could rival him, also another shout out, honorable mention, Frimpong, his other side of the field for Leverkusen at right back, Frimpong, also just having a freaking fantastic season for Leverkusen. So yeah, Grimaldo at 10. Maybe you could argue him higher. I don't know. But I think at 9, you have to show respect to probably the best player in Serie A this season so far, the leader for the team at the top of the league in Serie A, in Inter Milan. You have to put Lautaro Martinez at least 9th. You have to show respect to the guy who's leading Inter to having a very strong season so far. Sure, they did play second, tied on points with Real Sociedad in their Champions League group, but they're running Serie A right now. Juventus is right behind them, trying to catch up to him, challenge him for that league title. But yeah, Lautaro is the top goal scorer in Serie A. He's having a very, very, very strong season. A year ago, after the World Cup, I thought this guy was finished. The amount of chances, I thought, he was turning to the next Higuain. The chances. Argentinians were hating this guy a year ago for he almost sold a World Cup for Messi. All the chances he was missing in that tournament. He was so bad he got replaced by Julian Alvarez, like in the second game of the tournament. I mean, the turnaround he's done since then, I mean, you have to respect it. I know his hairline, he just needs to let go of his hair and shave the hair off. I know his hairline is terrible, but you have to respect the season he's having, the impact he's having, his partnership with Marcus Thuram for Inter. Class. And, I won't, even though this is a top 10 list, I wouldn't say Lautaro Martinez is world class. I do think there's a very limited amount of world class players at the moment, but he's having a damn good season. And if he could lead Inter to a Serie A title and lead Inter to, say, a semifinals in the Champions League, come June, when I make this video again and make my final top 10 of the season, Lautaro could definitely be there. But there's still 4 or 5 months of the season left to play out. Let's see what happens. But for now, Lautaro at 9th position, I think it's very, very fair. Now, moving on to 8th position is Mr. Grimaldo's teammate, one of the young rising talents in the world right now. The progress, I mean, I thought Florian Wirtz, if you didn't know who I'm talking about, Florian Wirtz, Grimaldo's teammate at the number 8 position. The special thing about Wirtz is that he's very young. I think he's like 18, 19 still. And he is doing this coming off the back of an ACL tear. I think it was a year and a half ago, he tore his ACL when he was having his first breakout season with Leverkusen. Last season, he was out for half the season with Leverkusen, came back towards the latter stages of the season, second half of the season. Now, this season under Xabi Alonso, he's picking it back up where he left off when he was having his breakout season with Leverkusen 2.5 years ago. I mean, this guy runs it for Leverkusen in the attack. Now, he might not have as many goals and assists as Victor Boniface, but Wirtz is the guy behind this attack. He's the guy that's connecting from defense, midfield to attack. Defense to Xhaka. Xhaka gets it to Wirtz. Wirtz combines with Grimaldo. How many times have we seen this season? If you watch Leverkusen, how many times have we seen Wirtz connect, leading attacks, Xhaka to Wirtz, Wirtz to Grimaldo, interchanging play, switch back to Wirtz, switching to Frimpong, switching play, creating chances for Boniface, creating chances for himself, scoring outrageous solo goals, chipped goals from outside the box in both the Bundesliga and the Europa League. I think, for Leverkusen and being, probably a top 3 team this season, top 4, top 5 team this season, he's their best player. He has to be on this list. 100% he has to be on this list. And you could, in terms of honorable mentions, you could honorable mention the whole entire Leverkusen team, even their center backs, Ta Kusuno, Tapsoba, Boniface already shouted out. Like, you could shout out all these guys, but Wirtz is this guy. He's leading a team at such a young age, very strong future. Now, let's see if Leverkusen dip down in form. Come June, will Wirtz still be in my top 10? I don't know, but based on the first half of the season, 8th position, in my opinion, is 100% deserved for Florian Wirtz as the best player in one of the best teams in the world this season. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. But wow, this kid's future. I thought he was finished after the ACL, but the comeback, man, shows mentality. So, going from 8th position to 7th position is someone who I think now, he's been injured with like a bone stress fracture for a couple of almost a month, basically a month now. But he's still having a great season. Don't get me wrong. But if you've watched Man City, if you've watched his chance conversion, you will know that Mr. Erling Haaland, who I'm putting at number 7, I put 4. Who I'm putting at number 7. He has been kind of poor as an elite finisher. He's been kind of poor this season. He's missed a ton of chances in the Premier League. He's missed a ton of chances in the Champions League. I kid you not, if Haaland was converting the way he was converting last season, he'd be on track to break his goal, the Premier League goals record again. He would be on like 10 Champions League goals already, leaving the group stages. But his chance, he's still number 7, because he's still having a fantastic season. Don't get me wrong, he's at 14 Premier League goals. Salah has just got to who we're going to talk about later. Salah has just got to 14 Premier League goals after Haaland's been out injured a month. This shows you this guy was already having an insane season. Let's not hold him to these alien statistics of he's got to hit 38 again. Being on 14 goals this season so far, it's insane still. Don't let the standards raise too much because of insane numbers. Guys like Messi, Ronaldo, even Haaland last season, Lewandowski have put up, Benzema have put up, Suarez have put up. 14 goals at this stage of the season is still insane. Don't get it twisted. And he's been out for a month now. He isn't even supposed to come back for another 2 or 3 games. And if he just had better conversion, Haaland could probably already be on 30, 40 goals in the first half of the season, but his conversion just hasn't been there this season. His chance conversion just hasn't been as elite as it was last season. But hey, let's see how he looks at comeback from injury. I do still think you have to put him in your top 10. I mean, people think Haaland, in my opinion, when I watch Haaland, I don't understand sometimes people's analysis of him. Because they say he has they say he's just a goal scorer. And sure, he may not be as he may be nowhere near the passer of a Harry Kane or Benzema, nowhere near as creative and able to drop deep and make impact like a Lewandowski and Benzema and Kane. But people say he doesn't have a first touch. This guy typically controls the first touch very well, holds it up very well for City, is pivotal to building up City's attacks when he's on the field. I don't really get the criticism sometimes for Haaland. The only criticism I really think you could give Haaland for someone who's still very, very young is that his chance conversion can still be better. His chance conversion, even last season where he scored 38 goals in the Prem, if his chance conversion was better last season, he could hit 45, 50 goals in the Premier League, even more goals in the Champions League. But it is what it is. He's already scoring goals in boatloads. If his performance has been better, and if he wasn't injured the last month, he'd have more goals, and I put him higher on this list. But even so, like in 4 or 5 months' time, if things go how I think it is, Man City winning the league, Man City going back to back, he's probably going to score a bunch of goals. Haaland will probably be top 3, top 2, maybe even the best player in the world, in my opinion, come 4 or 5 months' time when he's back from injury. But we will have to wait and see for that. So, after Mr. Norway, Erling Haaland, who do I have at 6? And it's Mr. Kylian Mbappe. I keep saying Mr. Here's the thing with Mbappe. I would put Mbappe higher. Now, he is killing. He's by far, I think, not the other players in Ligue 1 haven't even hit double digits in goals. He hit double digits in goals like 2 months into the season, or less than 2 months into the season for PSG. He's balling out in Ligue 1. He's going to lead PSG to another Ligue 1 title. We all know this. He's going to score a load of goals in that league. He's already at like, I don't know the exact number, but I think he's at like 17, 18. He's going to, if he hits 35, 40 goals in the league alone, insane season. But the reason why Mbappe gets put at 6, which is pretty low for who Mbappe is supposed to be, the Champions League. Mbappe's Champions League performance has been dreadful. Dreadful. I think Mbappe in the 6 matches in the group stage, he only showed up for 1, and that was when they beat AC Milan. The first game against Dortmund, he was not great. In both Newcastle games, he was not great. That sketch penalty in the last second against Newcastle in the second game. We know what happened. We know some money was paid for that penalty. Mbappe's Champions League campaign has been trash. Let's be honest, trash. So that's kind of the only reason I'm putting Mbappe at 6. If he led PSG to 15, 5 wins out of 6 in the group, the Champions League top goal scorer so far, then I'd put Mbappe top 3. And you could argue for who's number 1 once you put him in that top 3. But you have to agree with me. If you've watched PSG, if you've watched Mbappe, he has not shown up in the Champions League at all. Just 1 game, and that's not enough for who Kylian Mbappe is supposed to be. He's supposed to be the guy taking over from Messi and Ronaldo. Guess what? Messi and Ronaldo are now both out of Europe, and you're dropping in a disaster class Champions League campaign this season? I need more, Kylian. I need more. But fortunately for him, PSG barely got out of the group and are in the knockout stages. let's do something in the knockout stages, Kylian. If you want to start cementing yourself as a real club legend, because let's be honest, his club career hasn't been good. He's 25, 26 right now. I think he's 25 actually. I think he just turned 25, whatever it is, whatever his age is. He's around that age. Messi and Ronaldo at 25 had done way more at the club level. Now he already has a World Cup, but I'm talking about the club level. His club career is lacking. Haaland has already surpassed his club career. He's won a treble. He broke the Premier League goals record. What is Mbappe staying in Liga and what has it done? That's why Mbappe, this Champions League knockout campaign this season, show up after, in the new year and take PSG at least to a semis. Please, at least give me a semifinals. At least the semifinals, Kylian. But I think 6 is very, very fair for Kylian Mbappe. So, on to the number 5 position, and it's Mr. Receding Hairline, Mohamed Salah. Again, I mean, he hasn't had a single bad season for Liverpool since he came to the club. He came in 2017, or so 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 2021, 2020. I mean, look, how many seasons is this guy going to keep performing at the top level for Liverpool? Like I just mentioned before when I was talking about Haaland, he just hit 14 goals in the Premier League before leaving for AFCON. He's left for AFCON to represent Egypt. Hopefully to win the whole thing and cement himself as the best African player of all time, potentially. Eto will have something to say about that if he does win the AFCON. But yeah, Salah. I mean, I think he has like 8 assists in the Premier League. Liverpool's first in the league right now. Now, Liverpool being first in the league is an interesting statement because I do think like they're first because Arsenal keeps dropping points. And City, with the injury to KDB at the beginning of the season, Haaland being injured the last month and dropping unnecessary points, they're not first. But Liverpool, he is the reason Liverpool's first right now. If he was not at Liverpool, or say if he was injured, Liverpool would be a 5th place, 6th place team right now. He's carrying that attack. That attack is starving. Luis Diaz doesn't have output. Darwin Núñez is trash. Cody Gakpo has never hit his stride when he came to Liverpool. Jota is an injury waiting to happen every 4 or 5 games. Salah, man, carrying an attack on his own, 14 goals, 8 assists in the Premier League. Just it's not even the goals and assists, it's his impact. It's his impact. He's not just a goal scorer anymore. I remember when he had his first season for Liverpool and he breaks the goals record. When he has the likes of Firmino and Mane, he doesn't have to create. Now he doesn't have that, that baller ass trio. Now he's got the likes of Darwizzi, Luis Diaz, the ugliest player in the league. And now he has to create. Now he has to goal score, and he's doing that. But this might be his last season at Liverpool too. So if he's going to go with a bang and try to win the league title, let's see. A Europa League and a league title, that's a great season for Salah. And an AFCON, sprinkling a little AFCON there. Can he be the best player in the world? Can we put him at number 1 in this list in 4 or 5 months' time? Let's see. But 5 is very fair for Mohamed Salah. I think some people might argue higher. That might be some recency bias because he just had a fantastic game against Newcastle 2 days ago. I do think it's a little recency bias. I do think 5 is fair, especially for a guy who plays in Europa League. He doesn't have the opportunity to show himself in the Champions League this season. But I won't hold that too much against him because Liverpool overall was just trash last season. He was carrying the team. But yeah, Salah 5. So number 4. Who do I have at number 4? Oh, okay. Belly goal. Jude Bellingham. Yeah, Jude is number 4. I think some people might disagree with this. They would put him higher. And to be honest, I'd put him higher if I didn't hold the 3 players above him in such high regards for their performance this season. But you guys, he's only 20 and I'm putting him at 4 in this list. And I think most YouTubers, if they're making a top 10 list so far, most football fans would put him in their top 5. I think, sure, get mad at me if I'm not putting him top 3 or as the best player in the world for you Real Madrid weirdos, for your Madridistas, you weird-ass Madrid fans. I mean, if you don't call one of their players the best player in the world, they think you're an idiotic football fan and doesn't deserve to watch the sport. Whatever. Champions League merchants, which isn't actually an insult. I wish my team was Champions League merchants. But whatever. Yeah, Bellingham, top goal scorer in La Liga. Who would have thought? I mean, Bellingham was this box-to-box midfielder for Dortmund. He's left to Real Madrid. People were clowning on him for, saying he wants to be the next Zidane, taking Zidane's number. Doing this. When you do this celebration, you're calling for the critics. You're calling for the haters. When you do this celebration, it means you're listening to the haters. And he keeps proving the haters wrong. I think the highlight of his season so far was that winner against Barcelona El Clasico, shutting up all the Barca fans that were hating him, saying he wasn't better than Gavi, Pedri, Frankie de Jong. Champions League, he's been Real Madrid's best player in the Champions League, constant impact on the Champions League, leading Real Madrid to an 18 out of 18 Champions League group stage campaign so far. Perfect record, 6 wins out of 6. So, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you guys 30 minutes about Jude Bellingham's impact. I did not expect him to go from this box-to-box midfielder at Dortmund who would get involved in the defensive end, but also have a huge impact in the attack, linking up on the wings with fullbacks, creating chances through crosses for strikers, scoring goals, having impact. He's taken that to Real Madrid as a 20-year-old, doing this, putting all the pressure on himself, and he's delivering more now. He's delivering more. He's Real Madrid's best player in the Champions League, and he's the top goal scorer in La Liga. That's disgusting. That's literally disgusting. So number 4 for me, Jude Bellingham. Number 3, top 3. Who am I going to pick? We have Kane, Griezmann, Rodri. Who am I going to pick? I'm going to pick Mr. Rodri. Mr. Rodri, the guy I think deserved the Ballon d'Or last season. I do think he deserved, okay, if Messi didn't win the World Cup, I think he deserved the Ballon d'Or. But Messi won the World Cup. When you win that World Cup and you play the way Messi did the World Cup, you deserve that Ballon d'Or. But Rodri, man, I mean, City's most important player this season with KDB being injured, Stones having his injuries, Haaland having his injury the last month, and missing so many damn chances. Foden has just started ticking on for City. He has been the glue for the City team so far. Absolutely. He's the best midfielder in the world, 100%. People see him as just a DM, but people don't recognize the impact he has on the attack too. Just think of how many clutch goals this guy scores for City. How many great goals. I mean, his last goal for City, he picks up the ball from the midway line. Foden lends it off from him. He dribbles 20 yards and casually slots it with a precision strike to the bottom left corner. And he's supposed to be a DM. Scores the winning. Okay, I know this is last season, but scores the winning goal with a clinical strike again to win the Champions League and the Champions League final against Inter for Man City to win them the treble. Rodri, man, I could, again, like Bellingham, I could sit here and talk to you for 30 minutes about this guy's impact for City. He really is the best midfielder in the world, and he is the most important player for Man City in that team. People will, casual say Haaland, KDB, Ruben Diaz, blah, blah, blah. But Rodri is that guy. Rodri is the glue to this Man City team, man. City with and without Rodri are much different teams compared to when City are with and without Haaland. When City are without Haaland, they have Julian Alvarez. When City are without KDB and they have Haaland on the field, they have Julian Alvarez, Foden, and all these guys covering for KDB's role in the team. But no one can recreate Rodri's role in this team. Now, I know, shout out to his teammate Stones, who is also a fantastic player who shifts in from center back to CDM during the games, depending on what position he's being played. But Rodri is that guy for City. 100%. Rodri is that guy. And potentially you could even put him higher on this list, but I just wanted to see more from City. Haven't done enough in the league as a team to be able to push Rodri up into the second or first positions. They're 4th in the Premier League right now. They do have a game in hand, but they're 4th in the Premier League right now. And yeah, I think because of that, you can't put him too high. Because at the same time, he's not scoring an insane amount of goals like Bellingham is, but their roles are different. I know that kind of didn't make sense the last 30 seconds of what I said, because I realized my number 1 pick might be a little contradictory to what I've been saying, but I do think my number 1 pick is justified. Number 2, who am I going to go number 2? It's my guy, proper English baller, coming to my team Bayern, scoring all these freaking goals, Mr. Harry Kane. Harry Kane, man, 21 goals in the Bundesliga so far. 4 goals in the Champions League. I mean, he scores in almost every game for Bayern. My fear when he was coming to Bayern was that Thomas Tuchel would try to play in as an out-and-out number 9, just a box striker, stay in the box and score your chances. But thank God, Thomas, because that if you do that to Kane, you take away so much of his game. For Bayern now, he is fully like integrated into this team. If you watch a Bayern game, I watch every game. I'm a Bayern fan. This guy is at fucking left back, at right back, making tackles, picking the ball as a number 8. If you watch the Bayern's second game against Manchester United in the Champions League groups this season, the guy played as a number 10/number 8 the whole entire freaking game. Constantly dropping in, picking up the ball, spraying passes to Coman, Sane, Musiala, Muller, whoever it is running in, Serge Gnabry, Alphonso Davies, Mazraoui, whoever. Just spraying passes, being a clinical goal scorer. I mean, this guy does not. I think if I could remember just from the back from my head right now, if I think back to all of Bayern's games in this first half of the season, I could only name you like 3 big chances he's missed, 3, 4 big chances he's missed, compared to a Haaland who I can name 20 big chances Haaland has missed this season. But Kane's chance conversion this season has been disgusting. Just disgusting. He's on it. He is having a fantastic season. If he could lead Bayern to a Champions League and a Bundesliga to win his first trophies, you have serious Ballon d'Or shouts. If he goes and does something at the Euros with England, a final, or wins the whole thing, he's 100% your Ballon d'Or winner, best player in the world. But at the same time, I do have to give him a little bit of tax because when you do play in a Bayern team, you as the striker, no matter who the coach is at Bayern, except for Niko Kovac, that bum Niko Kovac, whoever your striker is, you're going to get a bunch of chances. You went from Tottenham last season, carrying Tottenham when Son was having a terrible season. Kulusevski was on and off and all those guys. He went from guys like that, and don't get me wrong, Son's an amazing player. Son also an honorable mention. Son is having a fantastic season. Just went off to AFCON for South Korea. But when you go from, Son was only other real quality attacker there at Tottenham. And you go from that to Leroy Sané, who's having one of the best seasons of his life right now. Kingsley Coman, who's one of the best 1v1 dribblers in the world. To Musiala, the best dribble in the world, in my opinion. Thomas Muller, Joshua Kimmich, Alphonso Davies at left back, Mazraoui at right back. Now you have all these outlets to give you chances. Obviously, he's going to score 21 goals in the Bundesliga so far. So I do have to put a little bit of tax on him playing for Bayern because any striker at Bayern will get a ton of chances. But what I find so impressive about Kane is the amount of, his chance conversion. He has not missed many big chances for Bayern this season. And as we go into this Champions League knockout stages, for Bayern, at least the semifinal this season. They've gone out in the quarterfinals the last 3 years in a row. Can Kane lead Bayern to at least the semifinal? Can he have at least a clutch goal in the semifinal first leg or something? Can he get Bayern to a final? I don't know. We will see. But Kane, man, his impact at Bayern, he settled in way quicker than I thought he would. Scoring the goals, assisting, making that constant impact as a striker. In my opinion, probably, him and Haaland are the best strikers in the world. You could mix, whoever you think is better, but I think so far this season it's Kane. But yeah, number 2 position, 100%. Now, who do I have at number 1? Well, I have a number 1 for the best player in this first half of the season. You see him right down there. Now, this might be a little bias. I'm not even an Atleti fan, but I've always loved Griezmann. I thought Griezmann after Barcelona was done. Finished. He looked miserable at Barcelona. I thought him returning to Atleti was just him trying desperately to rekindle who Antoine Griezmann is as a player. But this season, man, Atleti used to be this defensive team, play virgin. They wouldn't attack. Now Simeone has found a pretty good balance of defense and attack. I know today, as I'm recording this video, Atleti just lost 4-3 to Girona in one of probably the craziest game of the season so far. If you haven't watched that, at least go watch the highlights right now after you watch this video. But for me, Griezmann, he's just doing everything. Like everything for Atleti. Like I know I was telling you Kane was doing everything for Bayern, linking up and everything, scoring goals, but Griezmann really is doing so much. He's not a striker. He's not a midfielder. He's constantly drifting in games for Atleti into the midfield as a striker, creating chances for Morata, linking up with his midfielders, Saul, Koke, Llorente, Molina on the wing back. You guys, Griezmann's having a very, very, very insane season. And I'm really interested to see what happens now. I don't think Atleti will win the league. But if he can continue playing like this, if Morata can continue playing the way he is and not being the old crap Morata who misses a ton of chances, he scored a hat trick today against Girona. Griezmann, what happens if Griezmann wins a Champions League with Atleti? The Champions League is unpredictable. Atleti can win the Champions League. Let's not be naive. They can win the Champions League. They're a team that's dangerous going into this knockout stage when it starts up in February. Man, Griezmann has a good chance at winning something for Atleti this season, and the way he's playing, I mean, I really don't know how to describe it because he's not a second striker, he's not a striker, he's not a 10, he's not an 8. He's literally a combination of 4 positions for Atletico Madrid this season. Striking, even getting back and defending when he's in the midfield at times for Atleti, he's literally doing everything for them. And I've always liked Griezmann. I always thought his move to Barcelona was wrong. And maybe I'm being biased here because I like seeing him back on top and being one of the best players in Europe at 32. He was one of the best players at the World Cup too. As a midfielder, he was more of a midfielder in the World Cup, but now for Atleti, he's literally everything. Just phenomenal season for Antoine Griezmann so far. I have him at number 1. Let me see. I'm at 36 minutes. I yapped. I'm sorry. I yapped. Sometimes I turn this camera on, like I said and I yapped. I did not expect this to be 36 minutes long. So there's my final top 10. I have Grimaldo at 10th, Lautaro at 9th, Florian Wirtz at 8, Haaland at 7, Mbappe at 6. I have Salah at 5, Jude Bellingham at 4. I have Rodri at 3, Kane at 2, and Mr. France, Antoine Griezmann. I don't know what that was. Antoine Griezmann. I don't know how you say it in like super French. Antoine Griezmann. I have Antoine Griezmann at 1. So if you made it this far into my yap session about my top 10, like the video. Because that means if you made it this far, that means you like the yapping. So like it. Trend down there and press the like button. It's just down the scroll and just bing. Click the like button. If you're new, subscribe. If you're a returning subscriber and one of the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. I didn't expect that many subscribers from the AFCON content. I am gonna drop more AFCON and Asia Cup content in the next couple of days and the next week. School is starting again for me next week, so I probably will get like 2 videos a week, 3 videos a week. I'll have videos on match reactions and stuff too when the Champions League is back during school, but school is starting again. School first. I graduate from my bachelor's in June. I graduate in my bachelor's from my bachelor's in June. I get my bachelor's in June. What am I saying? It's late. I still need to go to the gym and edit this video. I mean, I don't do much editing, but whatever. I just literally post these things. But yeah, I'm yapping. I'm yapping. So yeah, like, subscribe, forward this video, comment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your top 10. I really like, as you see, if you've gone to my other videos, I interact. I read all the comments. I like them. I like talking football. It's just what I like to do. I'm a football weirdo. So leave a comment below and I will let me know your opinion. If I like it, I'll like it. If I don't, I'll call you stupid for it and then tell you why you're wrong. So yeah, guys, if you made it this far or if you clicked on the video, thanks for watching. I appreciate it and see you guys in the next one.